When it comes to your studies, the higher up you go, the less structure you have. I have found that this is one of the most challenging parts of making the transition to a research degree for many students. Most students, particularly from master's level upwards, have to work full-time to fund their study, meaning they have to contend with work responsibilities, family demands, as well as trying to finish their studies on time. This requires meticulous time management. This is the same skill you need if you are working as an entrepreneur, a researcher, or an academic. As an academic, outside of a teaching timetable, our days remain relatively unstructured. In this video, I'm going to discuss some of the principles I apply to make sure I get the most out of my unstructured day. Most out of your unstructured day, the first thing you need is a planning tool, and you'll probably need more than one. Some people use Google Calendar, Notion, Google Keep, Evernote, Agenda, bullet journals, the list goes on. The purpose of these is to keep a repository of the things that you need to do, and by giving it to a computer or a book, you avoid keeping it up here in your head. It's good to also avoid writing these notes in various different journals or putting it in places where you know you won't be able to find it. The point is, you need to find a system that works for you and that is reliable. I personally use a combination of Google Calendar and Notion. In Notion, I keep my longer term goals as well as the smaller tasks assigned to those goals. And it's also a place where I can actually allocate dates to those goals and those tasks. I then use Google Calendar to calendar block, and by doing so, I make sure that I have assigned a time to each task. The second step of calendar blocking in my Google Calendar allows me to plan more realistically, because it allows me to see whether I actually have time for all the tasks that I have written down. And if I see that I don't have enough time in my calendar, then I need to go back to my original task list in Notion and make some adjustments. I'm not going to show you my actual system because it's pretty complex and I'll need an entire different video to explain that to you. I will, however, discuss the principles that I apply when planning my work using Notion and Google Calendar. The first step is to have a longer term goal or vision. If you don't have this long-term goal, you'll go wherever the wind blows you, and you don't want to do that. So take a stab at really being ambitious. Think about where you want to be in 10 years' time, and you really have to aim higher. If you aim low, you're going to get to a low place in 10 years' time. So to avoid doing that, just aim a little bit higher than what you think your imagination can go. Once you've written down your 10-year goal, think about what you need to do within the next 5 years to get to that 10-year goal. You can then go on to thinking about what you need to do within the next year in order to achieve the 5-year goal. Once you have your 1-year goal, you can then work your way backwards. So think about what you would need to achieve within the next 6 months to get to the 1-year goal, what you need to do within the next month to get to the 6-month goal, and then what you can do next week to reach your monthly goal. This process can take a while, especially if you're still trying to figure out what it is that you want to do with your life. Really be patient with yourself when you do this and write it down. You can't do this sort of thing in your head. You need to have it somewhere where you can go back to that piece of paper or that notebook when you are feeling discouraged or you feel like you don't know where you're going. So the next thing you need is knowing why you want to reach your goal. If you don't know why you want to reach your goal, you won't be able to push yourself through those hard times that you definitely will encounter on the road to achieving that goal. So know your why, and the second thing is that you will need to actually start believing that you can achieve that goal. If you've aimed high enough with your 10-year goal, you may be feeling a little bit uncertain about it right now, and that's okay because you literally have 10 years to get there. You don't need to get there tomorrow, but there needs to be some part of you that believes you can do it, and that's what's going to push you. Your why and your belief that you can actually get there. Once you've established that you want to do this goal and there's some part of you that believes you can do it, then you can move on to the more practical stuff. And that's really what this video is about. At this stage, you want to be able to distinguish between maker tasks and manager tasks. In his Udemy course, Patrick Dang describes maker tasks as tasks that require large chunks of your time and also your creative energy. If you're building a business, your maker tasks will be stuff like strategizing and building your actual products. Manage your time can be broken up into shorter chunks of time and could include stuff like managing staff or suppliers if you are a business owner. Maker tasks should be performed at your most productive time of the day, or preferably in the morning when you're still fresh. But you must try and spend at least 50% of your day on maker tasks. So if you have an 8-hour day, make sure that at least 4 hours of your day are dedicated to maker tasks. And over time, you want to increase that proportion. So if you currently spend more than 50% of your day working on tasks that don't help you build towards your longer term vision, then you really need to take a serious relook at how you schedule your time. So to give you a sense of how I do this for myself, let me demonstrate. So I work on the basis of 7 hours a day. So either from 8:30 in the morning to 4:30 in the afternoon, or 9 a.m. in the morning to 5 p.m. in the afternoon. I minus 1 hour to fetch my child from school and to take coffee breaks in between. So I work on the basis of 425 minutes a day, or 7 hours and 5 minutes. My maker tasks are primarily related to research, so this includes data collection, writing, reading, coding, and data cleaning, for instance, and creating content for the researcher. So that is basically building content for my YouTube channel and my newsletter. These are tasks I anticipate will help me reach my longer term goals. For my research, I schedule 4 hours or 240 minutes a day. And for the researcher, I schedule 1 hour and 20 minutes or 80 minutes in total. This basically combines to 75% of my total working day. I then allocate 60 minutes to administrative tasks such as emails and other queries, and 45 minutes to student supervision. So this could be reading student submissions or student consultations. But basically for admin and supervision, I only dedicate 25% of my day. I try my best to be strict with this every single day, but in reality, I tend to average this out over the course of a week. So if I need to attend a 2-hour meeting today, for instance, and I resultantly don't get to my supervision, then I might dedicate an hour and a half to supervision tomorrow. So you need to decide for yourself what counts as maker time and what counts as manager time, so you avoid doing busy work, which is basically ticking off long to-do lists that really don't make any impact on your longer term vision. So like I said, I calendar block using my Google Calendar, but there are a few principles I apply when I schedule my time into my Google Calendar. So the first is being strict but flexible. So being strict means actually stopping a task when your time for that task has run out. If you run overtime with manager tasks, it means that you might look back on your week and realize that you didn't make as much progress towards your longer term vision as you should have. Whereas if you run overtime with your maker tasks, you might actually become mentally fatigued and you'll have admin piling up, which is not good either. So a principle I applied when I was writing up my master's research report and working full-time at the time is that I limited my emails to 1 hour per day. So I would literally open it at 8 a.m. and close the mailbox at 9 a.m. And within that hour, I will get through as many emails as I can. If there are emails left over, I leave it for the next day. There are things that you can do to lighten your administrative burden as well, like automating certain tasks. For instance, I use Calendly to schedule meetings with my students. That way we don't have 3 or 4 emails going back and forth trying to find and schedule a meeting that works for both of us. They can simply just go onto a site where they can see all my available times and then click a time that works for them. I do the same with student submissions. I ask my students not to submit their work via email, which is what we used to do in the past, and it would just get lost in my mailbox. I've created a submission portal where they can actually go and upload their work. One of the most valuable planning techniques that I learned from my life coach is planning for things that might throw off your plans. So if you, for instance, know that you need to go for a run in the morning and this run is part of a longer term fitness goal that you've set for yourself, you need to make sure that you plan as far as you can for the things that might stop you from going for that run. So if you know, for instance, that it might rain, that is a very real possibility. You'll know that you'll either go to the gym in case of rain, or you'll just take a rain jacket. So think about what you might do to mitigate in case of something interrupting your plans. The next principle is to avoid planning too much. You'll just set up yourself for disappointment by doing that. So you may not be able to write an entire section of a chapter in a single sitting, but if you plan to do that and you actually fail at it, you will feel like a failure. So don't plan to write an entire section. What you might plan to do instead is write 1 or 2 paragraphs on a particular issue, or instead to read the methodology section of a particular article or book chapter that is key to the work that you are trying to do. Related to the last point is being specific. You must be specific so that when you sit down to do your work, if you are writing, for instance, that you can sort of hit the ground running. The same goes for an exercise goal. If you know that you need to have run a certain number of kilometers by the end of the week, then make sure that tomorrow at 5 o'clock in the morning you know that you are running 5 kilometers or 7 kilometers. Don't wait till the morning to decide what you are going to do. The same goes for writing or reading. Know exactly what you need to write or know exactly what you need to read. When I finish my writing session on a particular day, I will leave a note for myself in my Word document to tell myself what to do the next time when I open this document. This way I make sure that I don't fall around and be uncertain about what it is that I need to do next. In addition to that is to just stick to what you said you were going to do. If you, for instance, decided that you're going to run 5 kilometers but you wake up in the morning feeling energized, don't go and run 7 kilometers or 10 kilometers, because you might then fatigue yourself and not be able to reach your fitness goals for the rest of the week. So stick to what you said you were going to do. The same goes for reading and writing. Just read or write what you plan to do for the day. If you're done, you're done. Relax, have a cup of coffee. The last overall point is to remember to rest. You can do this by either working half days on Fridays or not opening your laptop on the weekend if you know you really pushed yourself this week. Because it is only when you are well rested that you can be truly creative during your maker time. And in closing, remember the old saying, failing to plan is planning to fail.